On June 11, 2026, in Lexington, South Carolina, a woman walked out of the Planet Fitness gym on Whiteford Way. She was wearing an olive green zip-up jacket and black athletic pants. No one present at the time knew that this would be the last time she appeared on a security camera that police could later verify. The woman was 39-year-old Elena Katherine Moore. Cameras recorded her checking into the gym at approximately 6:40 p.m. later. Another piece of footage, released subsequently, showed her walking across the parking lot of a nearby Publix supermarket toward Old Cherokee Road between 9:17 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. She was still wearing the same outfit she had on when she left the gym. After that frame, no further footage of Elena was released. The following day, June 12th, she was reported missing. Lexington police launched a search operation, deploying drones to scan the wooded area behind the Lowe's store, the direction she was believed to have headed after leaving the gym. 6 days passed in silence. On June 17th, a body was discovered in the area near Old Cherokee Road and Northlake Drive. 2 days later, the Lexington County Coroner's Office confirmed the identity. It was Elena Moore. Yet, the answer many were waiting for, the cause of her death, remained elusive. The autopsy revealed no obvious signs of trauma, no stab wounds, no gunshot wounds, no signs of strangulation. There was no evidence of external force to explain the death of a healthy 39-year-old woman who had been exercising regularly just hours before she vanished. No cause of death, no perpetrator. There is only one question hanging in the air in the forest where she was found. If you believe Elena deserves answers, hit the like button. What do you think happened during those 3 missing hours? Leave a comment below. And if you want to follow the case until it's solved, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a thing. Before discussing Elena's death, it is necessary to talk about her life. Elena Katherine Moore lived in Lexington, South Carolina, a small city of about 23,000 people located west of Columbia. It was the kind of town where everyone knew one another. News traveled fast, and a disappearance could stir up the entire community within hours. She worked as a personal trainer at Wolf's Fitness Center in Lexington. Her job revolved around helping others get fit, designing workout plans, tracking progress, and motivating clients through their sessions. It was a role that required consistency, discipline, and personal connections with many people in the community. In addition to her job, she frequently worked out at Planet Fitness, the very place where she was last seen on security footage on the evening of June 11th. Those who knew Elena described her disappearance as completely out of character. A Lexington police official told the press that the situation was very unusual for her. A brief remark, yet one that spoke volumes. Those close to Elena believed she was not the type of person to simply vanish without a trace. Notably, this was not the first time Elena's name had appeared in a missing person report. About a week prior to the events of June 11th, specifically on June 4th, Elena had been reported missing. Security cameras had captured her at the apartment complex where she lived, and she was subsequently found safe. Then, exactly 1 week later, she disappeared again. This time, for good. 2 disappearances separated by only 7 days is not a detail that can be overlooked. It raises questions about what was truly happening in Elena's life during those final days. But these are questions, not answers. When someone goes missing, police and public attention inevitably turns to those closest to them. It is important to emphasize that, as of now, no one has been named a suspect, no one has been charged, and there is no public evidence pointing to a specific perpetrator. The first person to mention is Brannon Slice, Elena's husband. He was the one who reported her missing to the Lexington police on June 12th, the day after she left the gym and lost all contact. In the early days of the investigation, Brannon provided initial information to the police regarding Elena's daily routine, her visits to Planet Fitness, and the time she usually returned home. This is a standard role for a loved one during the initial phase of any missing person investigation, providing background information to help police reconstruct the missing person's movements. Beyond Brannon, Elena's circle included family, friends, colleagues at Wolf's Fitness Center, and staff at Planet Fitness. People who might have seen her in the time leading up to her disappearance. Police also identified a group of potential final witnesses, employees at shops along her route, residents living near Old Cherokee Road, and anyone present in the Publix parking lot around 9 p.m. that evening. However, a list of witnesses is not a list of suspects. To date, no individual has been publicly named by the police or SLED, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, as a suspect. The core question remains: who was the last person to truly know where Elena was after she walked out of the camera frame at Publix? Looking back at the sequence of events, several details distinguish this case from a typical disappearance. It bears repeating. These details are drawn from public investigative records and do not constitute conclusions regarding anyone's motives or actions. The first detail is that Elena had been reported missing just a week earlier, on June 4th, before being found safe. Such an incident, occurring right before she vanished a second time, never to return, is in itself a noteworthy element of the case file. The second detail concerns CCTV footage from the apartment complex during her first disappearance. Her demeanor in the video was described as somewhat unusual or disoriented. While not clearly explained in public reports, this detail remains a piece of the puzzle that cannot be overlooked by anyone following the case. The third detail is the nearly 1-week interval between the two disappearances, a period short enough to raise questions about a potential connection, yet long enough to preclude any definitive conclusions. The fourth detail involves Elena's movements after leaving Planet Fitness on the evening of June 11th. Her route was not entirely clear. She reportedly headed toward the wooded area behind Lowe's, but later appeared in the Publix parking lot, a different location, before vanishing from camera view entirely. The fifth detail concerns the time frame of the final CCTV footage, roughly 9:17 to 9:30 p.m. This was not particularly late, and the location was a busy commercial area, making the complete, traceless disappearance of an individual highly unusual. And one final detail. After that frame, there is no further public record. No camera footage, no witnesses, no released phone signals. To confirm where Elena went, it bears repeating. There is no public evidence suggesting this case involved coercive control, stalking, abuse, or any specific motive. These are simply gaps in the record. Gaps the investigation is still trying to fill. The critical moment. Let's reconstruct that fateful evening in the chronological order released by the police. On the afternoon of June 11th, Elena left work. According to a subsequently released incident report, she traveled by taxi, making a stop at a CVS store before arriving at Planet Fitness on Whiteford Way. She checked into the gym at approximately 6:40 p.m. Security cameras later captured her, leaving the gym and walking toward the wooded area behind the nearby Lowe's home improvement store. But her path did not end there. In footage released later, once police had expanded their search for evidence, Elena reappeared, this time in the parking lot of a Publix supermarket, heading toward Old Cherokee Road between 9:17 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. She was wearing the same outfit described by gym staff, an olive green zip-up jacket and black athletic pants. This is the last known image of Elena Moore. The pivotal moment of the entire story lies right here. After stepping out of the camera's view at Publix and heading toward Old Cherokee Road, Elena Katherine Moore vanished completely from all public records. No other camera captured her. No witnesses publicly confirmed seeing her after that time. The area spanning Planet Fitness, the space behind Lowe's, and the Publix parking lot, all located within close proximity in Lexington, suddenly became a zone that, in the span of a few brief hours, swallowed up all traces of a human being. Let's reconstruct that evening chronologically to clearly see the gaps the investigation is trying to fill. Afternoon. Elena leaves work, takes a taxi, and makes a brief stop at CVZ. Around 6:40 p.m., she arrives at Planet Fitness and checks in, just as she would for any routine workout. After 6:40 p.m., she leaves the gym. Security cameras capture the direction she takes, heading toward the wooded area behind Lowe's. Between 9:17 p.m. and 9:30 p.m., the final sighting. Elena is seen in the Publix parking lot, heading toward Old Cherokee Road. After that point, the trail goes cold. The gap between leaving the gym after 6:40 p.m. and appearing at Publix past 9 p.m., a span of nearly 3 hours, remains unaccounted for by specific public data. 3 hours is plenty of time to travel to multiple locations, meet various people, or simply stay in one place. These are the questions any investigator would ask. Where did Elena go during that time? Did she travel on foot? Or did someone give her a ride? Did she meet anyone? Where is her phone? An item almost everyone carries these days. And has its location data been collected and analyzed? And the biggest question of all, why, after leaving a gym in the town center, did she appear in a different area nearby before heading toward a road leading to a more sparsely populated region? No one, not even the police, has complete answers to these questions. At least, not publicly. Reporting the disappearance. On June 12th, Brannon Slice reported Elena missing to the police. The Lexington Police Department immediately took up the case. Initially, it was treated as a routine missing person investigation, the kind that usually concludes within hours or days when the individual returns on their own or is found safe, much like what had happened just a week prior. Police began by identifying the last places Elena had been seen. They reviewed security camera footage from businesses along her suspected route, starting at Planet Fitness and extending to the area around Lowe's. A ground search was also launched almost immediately, focusing on the wooded area behind Lowe's, the direction in which she was last seen heading on camera. However, the case did not resolve as quickly as initially hoped. Over the following days, the search area was significantly expanded. Drones were deployed to scan dense woodland that was difficult for ground crews to access. Additional support units joined the search effort. Police publicly appealed to local residents to provide any personal security footage, from doorbell cameras to dash cams, that might have captured images of Elena that evening. At the same time, photos of Elena were widely circulated in the media and on social media, in the hope that someone, anywhere, might have seen her after 9 p.m. on June 11th. Locating video evidence became the primary focus during the initial days of the investigation. Police reviewed footage from various sources: Planet Fitness's internal surveillance system, security cameras around Lowe's and Publix, where the last images of Elena were captured, as well as residential cameras and smart doorbells in the surrounding neighborhood. Concurrently, ground search teams expanded their sweep beyond the initial wooded area to include locations along Old Cherokee Road, Northlake Drive, and other nearby areas where the terrain might allow someone to remain hidden or be left behind. Police also gathered statements from a wide range of witnesses: local residents, employees at businesses along the route in question, taxi drivers, specifically the one who drove Elena on her afternoon trip involving a stop at CVZ, and her friends and family. A crucial breakthrough came from the community itself. After images of Elena were widely circulated, police received a tip from a resident that prompted search teams to shift their focus to the Old Cherokee Road and Northlake Drive area, the very location where Elena's body was discovered just days later. This detail highlights the vital role of media coverage and public attention in narrowing the search area, a factor later publicly acknowledged by Lexington police leadership. On June 17th, the search entered a new phase. At approximately 1:30 p.m., authorities began searching a new area, one identified based on the community tip. Just over an hour later, at approximately 2:48 p.m., a body was discovered. Upon discovery, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division sled was brought in to take over the lead investigative role from local police. This is standard procedure in South Carolina for serious cases, as SLED possesses superior forensic resources and specialized investigative capabilities. Meanwhile, the body was described as wearing clothing matching what Elena was last seen in, an olive green zip-up jacket and black athletic pants. However, official confirmation would take time. On June 19th, the Lexington County coroner officially confirmed that the body found was indeed Elena Katherine Moore. An autopsy was performed at the Medical University of South Carolina in Charleston. Preliminary results, released publicly, revealed a surprising finding. There was no evidence of blunt force trauma or external injury. There were no significant bruises, lacerations, gunshot wounds, stab wounds, signs of manual or ligature strangulation, or any other obvious signs of physical trauma. In other words, the cause of death could not be immediately determined based solely on an external examination and the absence of typical signs of trauma. Consequently, the coroner announced the need for further specialized testing, including toxicology screenings to detect any substances in the body and histological analysis, along with a review of Elena's medical records. These steps were aimed at determining both the cause of death and the manner of death, specifically whether the death was natural, accidental, a suicide, or caused by another person. This is the most critical point to convey accurately and cautiously. As of now, no perpetrator has been identified in the Elena Moore case. No one has been arrested. No one has been charged. No confession has been released. No DNA evidence has been publicly linked to a specific suspect. No murder weapon has been officially, and no motive has been officially confirmed by investigators. As for Brandon Slice, Elena's husband, his role in this story, based on what has been made public, is limited to the fact that he reported her missing. He has not been identified as a suspect by the police or SLED. He has not been labeled the killer in any official statement. This point bears emphasizing, as in many similar cases, public attention often gravitates toward the next of kin, particularly a spouse, even in the absence of concrete evidence pointing to their criminal culpability. The true focus of this stage of the investigation is not who did this, but rather a more fundamental question: whether a crime actually occurred. This remains, as of now, publicly undetermined. Since no one has been charged, quite simply, no trial has taken place in this case. There is no defendant, no trial, No jury, no verdict, no conviction, no sentence. Instead, there is only the ongoing status of an active investigation. SLED continues to lead the effort, coordinating with the medical examiner's office to complete the remaining tests. The cause of death has not yet been publicly disclosed. The manner of death, likewise, remains pending the results of toxicology and histology tests, as well as a review of medical records. Until those results are released, and until there is sufficient evidence for prosecutors to decide whether to bring charges, the Elena Moore case remains legally in the preliminary investigation stage, having not yet entered any phase of criminal proceedings. While the story of her death remains unresolved, the only clear reality is what Elena left behind. Her family lost a daughter and a wife. Friends lost a companion who had been with them through the years. Colleagues at Wolf's Fitness Center lost a trainer whom many clients trusted with their health goals. And the Lexington community, a small town where news of an acquaintance's disappearance can touch nearly every household, lost one of its own. Those who trained with Elena and worked alongside her at the gym share a common bond. Memories of a woman dedicated to helping others become healthier every day. In the days following the confirmation of her death, memorials were held, allowing the community to share their grief. Loved ones and friends spoke out, not to dwell on the manner of her passing, but to share how they wanted her remembered as a person who had lived a full life before this story began. Therefore, the focus here should not be on the identity of the perpetrator or the specific events that unfolded in those woods. Instead, the focus belongs on Elena herself, the person she was before becoming merely a name in an unresolved investigation file. A camera captured Elena Moore's final steps in an ordinary parking lot on an ordinary evening in a town where everyone knew one another. Yet, no camera recorded what happened next. And until that answer is found, until forensic science, pending tests, and the missing pieces of the investigation finally come together, the question remains, hanging in the space between Old Cherokee Road and the woods where she was found. What truly happened to Elena Katherine Moore?